Now, I have to admit, I'm not a rankings channel per se, but when Cody Leach, the master of rankings, better than the Sean Chandlers and Drum Dums of the YouTube space, I'm kidding, by the way, when he asks you, hey, would you like to be part of a Resident Evil rankings video? There's only two things you can say to the man: when and what time. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am doing a Resident Evil rankings video. Now, we're going to do it in 3 categories in 3 separate videos. This first video is going to be the top characters. After this, it's going to be the top boss battles. And last, the creme de la creme, the top games. So without further ado, again, Mr. Leach, thank you so much for having me be part of this. Big fan of yours. But let's go ahead and get started on the top characters. Coming in at number 10 is Hhunk. Why? Because you know what? I feel for the guy. The circumstances he was put under and what he had to accomplish and get through within the short amount of time to escape Raccoon City was pretty impressive. And plus, it was a unique take in the Resident Evil franchise. This is the first time in the games you got to play, quote unquote, as a bad guy. So I love the little turn and twist of the perspective of the survivor. So number 10 is Hhunk. Number 9 is Burton. Why? I can't name a good solid reason, but it's really a nostalgic hold. Really, with Burton, I remember he and Jill were the first characters that I got connected with in the Resident Evil games back in '96. But the fact that he hands Jill the master of lockpicking, the lockpick mechanisms, I thought it was pretty cool. I can't name any other reason than that, but he's up there, and I couldn't explain why, so there you go, Burton, number 9. Number 8 is Chris Redfield. Now, I know he's a little low on the rankings list, but let's be honest, I like his sister more than him. Chris Redfield, we've seen him in many games, of course, throughout all the Resident Evils 1 through 8, but he really doesn't have like a personality. If you really go and think about it, he's a soldier. Other than that, how would you describe him? Without naming who he works for, what he looks like, can you describe his character? He's a soldier who wants to get the job done and occasionally punches boulders. Oh, God. If you really look at him as a character, there's really nothing to get connected with, so that's why he's so low on my list. Number 7 is Mr. X. Why? Because he's the closest thing to Michael Myers that we get in the Resident Evil franchise. And talking about the first encounter with him in Resident Evil 2 and the PS1, this character scared the hell out of me. It was the first time I think I encountered a game where you thought you were safe in certain places, like running down a hallway, because the graphics and, the mechanics of the game weren't, technology advanced to where a character can break through a wall. Not in this case. Mr. X was breaking through the walls, and once he did that, the very first time, in the Raccoon City Police Department, all the rules were broken. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time because I did not know when he was going to pop up again and scare the hell out of me. So Mr. X, I have it number 7. Number 6 is the Nemesis. What do you do with the Mr. X? How do we improve upon that formula? Well, how about we get him to run faster and give him a rocket launcher? Nemesis, yeah, what can I say? And you know what? I do like the enhancements and, new twists they took upon him in the remake that came out. Granted, the game was very short. I do like the twists and turns they had as he evolved into this large, massive creature. But again, call me old-fashioned, I do like the old game on the PS1 because it was really the first time we experienced that type of fear and tension, and also gave you the choice of what do you want to do. Like the guy, do you want to keep going? So I do like having the additional added pressure of having to decide on what to do. And plus the guy's an a-hole. I mean, they didn't include this in the remake, but the fact that in the original game, I thought I had beaten it. There's the bell tower, the helicopter's coming, the music's, just playing. I thought it was the end of the game. I thought I had beat it. And then he goes with the rocket launcher and destroys the helicopter like that. I'll never forget that. So Nemesis I have at number 6. Coming in at number 5 is Albert Wesker. Now, like I mentioned with Chris Redfield, he had no personality. This dude has tons of personality. I love his cockiness, his confidence. He's a cool antagonist. I really do like him, and he had an evolution of sorts from playing part 1 up until part, I think, 5 when he became this beast. But I do like that whole take on part 5 where he was more like a Neo character and he had evolved with the T-virus, the G-virus, whatever the hell it was. I don't remember the details, but just the overall presence and attitude he's got as an antagonist. He's one of the best. So Albert Wesker, I have at number 5.
Lady, when you're with me, I'm smiling.
Coming in at number 4 is my future ex-wife. That's Lady D. Lady Dimitrescu, I believe is how you pronounce it. What can you say about this? It's unique for a game to instill horror and, you know, some sort of arousal at the same time. You know, just speaking for myself, of course, it was pretty cool. The design, the beauty, the modeling, the voice acting, all that stuff. She's just one of the best. I will get a poster of her somewhere, put it in the bedroom. I have to, because she's just that gorgeous. But I wish we would have gotten more of her in the game instead of what the marketing led us to believe, which was a false advertising, if you ask me. But Lady D, the mystery about her, I mean, everybody's infatuated with her, so to speak. I know there's probably going to be a DLC that's coming up with her. There ought to be. But yeah, she's up there. Top 5. Maybe she could have been number 1, but somebody beat her to it. Lady D, number 4. Coming in at number 3 is Claire Redfield. Now, I do like her more than Chris, obviously. There's a vulnerability to her, there's a humility to her that you take added pressure in wanting to protect her when you play as her. I think my favorite Claire Redfield game, so to speak, is just her overall in Code Veronica. And let's be honest, that whole opening montage of her doing the whole John Woo, you know, drop the gun and catch it and shoot those barrels behind the soldiers, that was epic. You watch it to this day and it holds up well. I just love that take and how that opening sequence showed the evolution of her compared to part 2. So Claire Redfield, I love her to death. She's number 3. And number 2 is Leon Kennedy because he's just super cool. I just like the evolution of his character as well. I do like, in part 2, starting the game off as him. He's going to a city, his first day, and then he goes, he finds his apartment and all his partners have been killed, and they have this whole welcome new guy decor in the office. I thought that was really cool, and it added a little bit of attachment on wanting to find out what happened from a player's perspective and, you know, get everything resolved because these guys didn't die in vain. I know that's a little bit far-fetched, but that's just how I felt playing as Leon Kennedy. And plus, as part 4, I mean, that's amazing as well. And again, each time we meet these characters in the franchise, there's like an evolution of them. So I really do appreciate Leon Kennedy. He's up there. And one of the best costumes ever, too. I love it to death. Leon Kennedy, number 2. And before I get to number 1, if you don't mind, hit the like and subscribe button. Put some comments down below if you like the video and what I've had to say so far. I really do appreciate it. It would mean the world to me. So without further ado, let's go to number 1. And at number 1, believe it or not, is Ethan Winters. I hated this guy. I hated this guy in part 7. I thought he was a pushover. I thought he had no motivations other than finding his girlfriend, right? But in part 8, spoilers, when we find out he actually died, and he's really just a father trying to rescue his daughter at all costs, it hit an emotional weight and a punch right in the heart that I had not felt for a character in quite some time. Especially that moment where he hands the baby, his daughter Rose, to Chris Redfield, and he takes the detonator. He's like, protect her. I was like, man, that's heavy. I wasn't expecting that type of heaviness in a Resident Evil game, but it really hit me. And he sacrificed himself for his kid and any father. I'm a father myself. I would have done the same thing, but it's just, I wasn't expecting that type of emotional weight with a character. He's like a John McClane in a sense, where he's just an everyday guy put into a crazy situation. He was killed, and now he's half human, half mold creature, hence all the damage he took and was able to heal so fast from it. But yeah, Ethan Winters, a character I had no interest and didn't care for whatsoever, but after playing part 8, he won me over. He is my favorite all-time Resident Evil character, believe it or not. Just a dad trying to do the right thing. And that's it for my rankings video for top characters. The next video coming up is top boss battles and then top games. Mr. Cody Leach, thank you so much for having me be part of this ranking extravaganza for the RE franchise. It means a lot to me. And without further ado, everybody, thank you for watching Rudy's Movie Reviews, San Antonio's official movie critic. Second video is coming soon. Stars.